Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in this beautiful community, and I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all living beings with whom you share your life. That means family members and friends. That might mean pets. That could even mean your house plants, all these living elements that are around you that serve to nurture your life and guide your life and remind you that life is so very precious and it's wonderful to be here. Today's sentiment of metta comes from a Sangha member who drew this image. And this particular Sangha member sends me these ink drawings, and I cut them up in small pieces and then I write sentiments on the back. This sentiment of loving kindness reads, "May my center be still." May my center be still. Friends, at this point in our practice, I encourage you to lie down if that's something that your body wants or needs. Give your body full permission to assume a posture of rest. On the journey of recovering the wholeness of oneself, the sacredness of oneself, we need a lot more rest than we ever give ourselves permission to have, and that society gives us permission to have. There's so many distractions. And so this is an opportunity to receive some rest. This is an opportunity to prepare the body for the rest of the day that maybe can engage the part of the nervous system that is all about restoration rather than alarm or exhaustion. So, as you're resting and as you're listening and as you're absorbing, every once in a while, bring your consciousness to your breathing and just allow your body the gift of a deep, slow inhalation. Fill the lungs completely, almost exaggerate. Feel the rib cage expand a little bit. And then once you're nice and full of air, go ahead and pause for just a few seconds. And then slowly release and exhale. And then when you've contracted the belly, you've contracted the diaphragm, and you've squeezed all of that air out, pause for just a few seconds. And then begin the cycle over again. Really allow the belly to relax, allow the diaphragm to relax, and inhale through the nostrils if it's possible. If it isn't, if you're a little stuffed up today, go ahead and open your mouth, but open your mouth not with a wide gaping O shape, just part the lips slightly and allow the air entry through the mouth. Breathing in. Pause. May my center be still. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. Pause. Exhale. pause. Allow your body to resume its natural state of breathing. But every once in a while, when you think of it, breathe with intentionality and allow your body the gift of having that increased oxygen throughout your blood cells. Friends, for the month of February, we have been exploring the second noble truth of Buddhism, which is there are causes and conditions to discomfort, confusion, misery. There are also causes and conditions to pleasure, contentment, ease. The acknowledgement that there are reasons for these experiences to come forward is the first step in gaining access to its wisdom. So, first we have to acknowledge okay, right now I'm distressed. Huh, would you look at that? I wonder why. I wonder what's here. Now, that simple inquiry shifts the mind from its habitual pattern, which is often to blame. I'm feeling distressed, and you are responsible. If you weren't such an asshole and a jerk, I wouldn't feel distressed. Like, stop being so inconsiderate. Stop being all up in my business. Leave me alone. Now you're making me so upset. Okay. That's a very, very common reactive mind state. And it typically points to our adolescence, certainly my adolescence. But I'm not an adolescent anymore. I'm an adult. And so, what I'd like to do is better understand these arisings within me. Even if somebody else is acting unskillfully, yep, that's going to happen. And it can affect my mood, it can affect my reactivity, but that's mine. And that's what I get to look at. That's what I get to own. Somebody else's unskillfulness is their stuff. That's their business. How I react to it, how I respond to it, that's mine. What I think about it, the stories I tell, the feelings I have, all mine. So, what are the conditions of that? What are the conditions of my distress? Now, it could be this individual, this external person or situation that is acting so unskillfully and I'm confused or judgmental. That's true. What else is true? That's the question that lives embedded in the second noble truth. What else is here? On Tuesday evening, we were so privileged to hear a wonderful meditation by one of our facilitators, Josh. I highly recommend that you revisit it. And it was a story that he shared about being in a situation where he was down to his last 20 bucks and he was pulling a $20 bill out of an ATM machine and a gust of wind came and threw that 20 bucks up in the air and he spent some time grasping for it, reaching for it. And for those of us listening, certainly as I was listening, I was like, oh no, hurry, hurry, get it. And I got all panicked, like, oh no. And I could totally relate to that grasping, reaching, so uncomfortable. And the conditions that led to that moment were also really uncomfortable. And then the feedback that Josh received after somebody witnessed it only added to the discomfort. And the reason why I'm reiterating this is because all of that spoke to the negative quality of grasping. There is suffering in the action of grasping. There is suffering in the virtue of grasping. That is true. What else is true? In all of life, in the nature of reality, there are negative qualities, positive qualities, neutral qualities. And so that grasping, that panic, I got to reach for it. That's a negative aspect of grasping. And you'll hear in spiritual circles how it's really important not to grasp. And it's addressing those reasons, that situation. But not all grasping is negative. So, what else is true? What if a craving comes and with a sound mind and clear eyes, I stare it down and I say, look, I see you craving. I know what you are. And I used to chase after that and I used to grasp onto it, hold onto it, but not today, craving. And I'm not going to be scared of you either. I'm going to hold on to something else. I'm going to hold on to the fact that I've been free of you for a while. I'm going to hold on to it tight. I'm going to treasure that. And yeah, I'm going to hold on so tight, maybe my knuckles turn white. Okay, that can be going on. That can give me a little bit of distress. And still, I'm not going to answer you, craving. I know where you're going to take me, and I'm going to feel like shit if I go with you. So I'm going to hold on to this other thing. Maybe it's my sobriety. Maybe it's a wise friend. Maybe it's my plant. Maybe it's my pet. Maybe it's an activity, or I'm going to go run it out and I'm going to sweat. Maybe I'm going to stand on the edge of a view and hang on. I'm going to grasp onto a different way of living my life. And in this moment, it may not feel great because I've got this craving hot on the back of my neck, and I wish it would just go away. But nevertheless, the front of me is wide open, heart exposed to something new. I'm going to grasp onto that. I might even put my arms up in a V shape, victory pose. It's a power pose. Or I'm going to channel my inner Wonder Woman and I'm going to make two little fists and I'm going to put them on my hips and I'm going to be really bold. Or I could even raise one of my hips and get all sassy and be like this Ganesha statue we have here at Soul Center that Lo brought from India. Screw you, craving. I'm holding on to something else, something new, something better. Thank you very much. Power. So the question I want to present is all grasping negative? And I hope you're beginning to see that no, not all grasping is negative. While I may experience discomfort, there is something else okay going on. Now, one last thought, and this is the word attachment. An attachment is a story often or a thought. And one of the attachments that arises in the realm of recovery is I shouldn't have any cravings, or when cravings come to visit, it's bad. And that could be true. And it's not the whole truth. So if we hold on to that attachment, uh-oh, cravings coming, I need to be scared, I need to feel threatened, this is going to be bad, this is going to be hard. If I stay attached to that, I will suffer. What else can I do? What else is here? And that's the invitation to look at my attachments, look at my stories, look at my thoughts, and just ask myself, huh, is this the truth? I'm not saying that having a craving isn't threatening. I'm just putting out there, is it always threatening? Do I always have to be scared? Or can I get a point, maybe even a Wonder Woman status that says, hey, wait a minute, I can look you down. I know what you are, and I'm stronger now. Would you look at that? Look at the conditions surrounding your experiences, the experience of reactivity, the experience of your thoughts, the experience of your stories. What are the conditions? What are they connected to? It might be something outside of the immediate thing. While Josh was grasping, clinging to that $20 bill, there was probably a whole lot of other stuff going on in that moment for him. The invitation is to take the whole of that experience and begin to take it apart gently and just get curious about it. And when we do, when we begin to understand the conditions surrounding our lives, we are simultaneously creating the conditions for wisdom to speak. And wisdom almost always says things like, hey, psst, wake up. You matter. You belong here because you are here. Let's come back now to the body, this precious, precious body, and let's give it some breath. Breathing in together, breathing out. Mm. We can come here and we can hear the same message repeatedly, and then every once in a while it gets in. It's like, oh, wow, I'm hearing it in a different way. Somehow that landed. And this is a quality of wise speech that is often not talked about it. But if you have the Sate Seva book, I talk about it. And it's in the chapter called Wise Speech, and it's an aspect of wise speech called receptivity and receiving. And it speaks to the second noble truth, which is the conditions. Sometimes the conditions in our lives are such that we cannot receive the wisdom. And sometimes the conditions in our lives are such that inexplicably we have the receptivity, and that message gets in. It is simply a point of awareness. It's a point of paying attention, and it's a point of celebration when you finally receive what you need to receive in the way you need to receive it. That's a good day. So this is why we keep practicing. And so we get together tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. We're meeting online only. And so you can join us on Zoom. We're going to continue this conversation, and it will actually be the last gathering, the last meeting for the exploration of the Four Noble Truths. And then starting next week, we'll jump into the third noble truth, which is that there is harmony. There is an end to the suffering. There is an end to the pleasure. There's an end to the bothness. There's that impermanent nature. And if we can be aware of it, if we can be centered in it, we experience harmony. We experience a kind of balance. This Sunday, friends, from 11 to 12:30, we have Sate Seva. And one of the things I want to say about Sate Seva, this is the book that we use. This is a mindfulness group associated with Recovery Dharma, and it is for people in recovery and your friends and family members, anyone who might be interested in what recovery is. And this is a mindful approach to it. And so, what we're doing starting on Sunday is we're starting a new chapter, and it's all about the cultivation of openness. And I'll say that we took 2 months to study the first chapter, the cultivation of awareness. And now we are looking at the cultivation of openness. Amazing. And so it takes time. We really do take our time. On what else do we got? Monday morning. If you aren't aware, Monday morning from 8:30 to 9:30, we have meditation, Monday morning meditation, all for the cultivation of spiritual and mental well-being. And for the month of March, we are going to explore the stories we tell as a way of disrupting our mental health and creating chaos and shit showiness in our lives. Should be fun. And okay, and then what else? We've got a retreat on the spring equinox. Check out the website. Lo has posted that in the chat. You can have a peek at it. And you can email me with any questions or concerns. And with that, I will go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. Take a moment to reflect today on the fact that you showed up to this meeting, and maybe you showed up to something new. That's amazing. It's so easy to just stick with the regular, familiar habits. It's really courageous and challenging to step into and toward something new. And each and every one of us has done that today. So may you take that radiance into your heart and your mind. And may you turn it outward, and may that warmth find someone else, complete stranger. May they feel your gentleness and your joy. May they feel the spirit of possibility. Let's dedicate this practice to living beings everywhere. May they have a moment's peace, a moment's ease. Namaste. Thank you, friends.